Hi, my name is Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found us. If you are returning, welcome back. I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Today, I want to talk about just a couple of books, and I believe they should be in everybody's personal development toolkit. So, having said that, I have an extensive library that expands from how to, whether it's building, how to do things or repair things in your home, how to repair things in your relationships, how to even learn what to do on a computer from anything, like whether it's a little programming, how to build websites, how to automate email and things of that nature. You get the point, right? So my library, even spiritual books, so I have to put that in there. I have an extensive library of spiritual books, spiritual growth, things of that nature. So when we think about why we are purchasing a book, when you go to the bookstore, you are there to either pick up a book for something that you want to learn or something new that you just want to help pass time with. For me, I realized that a long time ago, I used to work in one of the Hemsley hotels, and I used to work security, so I had a lot of time to sit in a booth, and over a course of 8 hours every single day. The majority of the work for the security was make rounds and basically check IDs as people are coming in and as people are leaving. And in between that, there wasn't really much to do but sit in that booth. So I used to go to Doubleday Bookstore in New York, and every Wednesday we got paid. I would buy 3 books, and I would be finished with those books by the next payday. I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed reading. And I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why is I was always on punishment when I was a kid. And the only thing, my mother wouldn't let me watch TV or listen to music. The only thing she would allow me to do was expand my imagination through reading. And, she thought that by punishing me, not with TV and no TV or music, I fell in love with reading and found that reading actually was better than listening to the music and better than watching TV, because it gave me an idea. It allowed me to broaden and build a vivid imagination, which is really awesome. So as I grew up, I started to read more and more. And one day this guy comes up to me and he says, "Man, I watch you read in this booth every single day. And for the course of the year, how many books you think you read?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I buy 3 books every week, so you go, 52 weeks and you times that by 3, you got yourself a great deal amount of books, don't you? You're in the ballpark of close to 160 books. So I'm thinking to myself, wow. And he tells me, he says, if you was to pick up a book that would actually teach you something, you'll really be smart. But this, just to read, just to be reading and not learning anything from it, is just a waste of time." And the following week, I started looking for books other than, Stephen King, John Coots, or whatever. I started trying to find a book that will, spark something in me, something that I wouldn't mind learning. And I'm going to tell you something. That week that I went in there, I couldn't find not one book. Yep, I couldn't find not one book that I wanted to learn something new. Years later, I often came across a lot of books for self-help, and that's when I realized there's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be more effective dealing with people, and Years later, I started reading books, but one of the books that I'm going to talk to you about today is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. And Covey's book is based on principles that are like applicable across various aspects of life, and whether it's personal or professional. And that's one of the reasons why I really like this book. The book offers like a holistic approach to effectiveness, focusing on principles that address not just your personal life, but even professional. So one of the reasons I like this book is I used to focus on things in my life personally, and I used to focus on these things that I couldn't change, you know, even things in the past that I couldn't change. And I always focused on that instead of trying to focus on the things that I actually can change and the things that would affect my future. And one of the reasons why I like Stephen Covey's book, it provides practical strategies that one can have habits with, that readers can like implement to become more effective in their daily lives, both personally and professionally. So I think this book for me helped me not only change how I went about my own life, but it helped me use concepts out of the book to change the things that I would do daily in my life. One of the key concepts in this book is an idea of being proactive, taking responsibility of one's action, focusing on what can be controlled rather than, like I said a few minutes ago, what I couldn't control. So Covey emphasizes that the importance of character development, integrity, principle-centered living in foundation and elements of effectiveness. And one of the reasons why I say that is, listen to this. When I was younger, you know, I used to have the mentality as a teenager. I dealt with a lot of people growing up in the South Bronx that always tried to get over, or even me trying to learn that and get over on others. And I realized that wasn't just the way. That wasn't the way to deal with people. And I wanted people to trust in me. And in order for me to have other people trust in me, I had to have a certain amount of trustworthiness or integrity. And this book helped me harness that. It helped me feel that, you know, it's time to be ethical with others so others can be ethical with me. So I had to have a level of high integrity, and I believe that book helped me center myself and change the ways that I would say change how I was acting towards others. But I had to first change what was inside of me, and that book gave me an outline where it was applicable to deal with myself from the inside and deal with people from all walks of life, regardless of profession, background, or even circumstances. That book definitely gave me a lasting impression that will be with me for the rest of my life. And it helped me make positive changes in my life that I apply daily. And not only the things that I do, but the habits that I have, the habits that I create, I basically try to keep that in mind. Now, that was one book, right? So I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I was a shy person, but I was no longer shy if I got to know you. So if you knew me, you knew that, hey, I would love to talk. I would talk all day long. And no matter what, you know, I'll talk about jokes. I'll talk about anything. I'll talk about my experiences during the day. And it doesn't matter what it is, I will talk about it. And one of the books that I'm going to talk about now, I read 2 times. And I haven't read it in a while, and it's an old book too, but I'm quite sure you all heard it. And it's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, this book provides practical advice on how to improve social skills, build relationships, and influence others in a positive way, not in a usury way. So I love this book. Now, I don't know about you, but if you are looking to learn how to deal with people in a positive way and build yourself up in the same fashion, this book offers all of that. Now, despite this book being old, I think it was published in 1936 or 1930s, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't remember the actual date, but I could tell you that this book was highly relevant back then, and it is highly relevant in today's society as well. Carnegie's insight into human behavior is far outweighs what you would imagine if a person did not read this book. And I believe the communication skills, the behavior, and relationship building is applicable in all walks of life and in every moment of life. This book offers practical advice on how to improve communication skills, including active and listening, showing genuine interest in others, and expressing appreciation. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing this book up is if you are in customer service or tech support, this book will help you a great deal. It's critical because communication in those fields is key. You're dealing with all walks of life. You're dealing with all types of people and backgrounds. And I'm telling you right now, communication or improving your communication skills is awesome. Not only are you going to improve your communication skills, but in building your active listening skills is critical. Showing a genuine interest, having empathy for others, and expressing your appreciation for being there to help one, it comes across and these people realize it, and it helps you diffuse a heated situation. So I think if you are in one of those fields, this book will definitely help you build positive relationships. And one of the things, Carnegie emphasizes that the importance of building relationships based on trust, empathy, mutual respect. His techniques can help readers strengthen existing relationships and forge new connections, influence people all around the world over the phone and in person. So you think about that. He provides strategies for influencing and persuading others in a positive and ethical manner. By understanding human psychology and motivations, readers can learn to effectively communicate their ideas and their goals. And not only that, if you're in like customer service, whether it's over the phone or customer service face to face, this gives you an idea of how to deal with people in an effective manner that will allow you to help them effectively. So you think about that, because when you're dealing with a person over the phone, they can't see you. They can't see your expressions. But believe me when I tell you, they know if you're smiling. They know if you're laughing. They know if you're smiling. But if you are on that phone and you're really trying to help somebody and you got a frown, they can feel it. That's right. You got a frown and you're not in a good mood. They pick up on that. And imagine if you're in customer service and you're face to face, you can see it instantly, can't you? If a person is in a bad mood or their body language, I mean, it all goes into this. This book is timeless. And I could tell you right now, if you don't have this book in your personal development toolkit, it's a must-have. Go get this book today. You can order it from, I'm quite sure, any bookstore that's out there. If you're the type of person who struggles to work well with others, this book is a must-have. Your self-improvement library will love you for it. And I say that because many of the principles outlined in the book are essential for success in the workplace. Now, learning how to work well with others, resolve conflicts, and inspire cooperation can contribute to a career advancement and professional success. So if you don't have this, believe me, it's time to go get this book. And I'm not just saying that because I got it, I bought it, but I mentioned earlier that I read this book twice, and one of the reasons I read this book twice is because you want to go back and see. Every time you read a book, sometimes you gain something brand new. And when I read the Bible, I'm telling you, every time I go back and read the same book or the same chapter or what have you, I get a different meaning. And the reason is because now you're open to something else. You've already learned certain principles, but now you'll be able to stack those principles and build upon. And I believe if you heard any of my other podcasts, I talked about building on the rock. So the same concept is with this. If you want to build your personal development, you have to start doing new things. You have to start looking at new ways to grow. And this book will help you do that in a way where not only you would love it, but your family and all your friends and everything else would love it. And in addition to any practical tips for interpersonal skills, Carnegie offers, he helps you delve into topics such as self-confidence, leadership, and handling criticism, which is huge, especially if you're in customer service. This book offers valuable insights for personal growth and self-improvement. So if you have an issue dealing with or handling self-criticism, this book will offer you ways on how to deal with that. So think about it, how to win friends and influence people. This book has sold millions of copies. I'm telling you right now, if you don't have this book, go get this book today. It is well worth its money, and if you ask me, the money that you would pay for this book, it doesn't even compare from the value you'll get out of the book. And I say that because I believe in, reading is great. You'll have so much power from the things you've learned. And I've often heard people say, knowledge is power, but I don't believe that. I believe knowledge is power when it's effectively applied. So you can read all the books in the world, but if you don't apply what you've learned, it's like you haven't learned anything, and the books are just books. That's all it is. But if you learn from the books that you are reading and you are enhancing your life and enhancing the lives of others around you, I guarantee you'll live a more fruitful life and a happier life. Now, I say that to say this, guys. There are a lot of good books out there. Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Now by Eckhart. I think his last name is Tolle. The New Psychology of Success. Here's a great one. I'm looking at one of the books I've read 3 times by Anthony Robbins, and you all know this book, Awaken the Giant Within. It's a long read, and it's a long read if you don't get into the book. But if you get into the book, I guarantee you'll wind up reading this book, and you'll be taking a lot of notes. But read it first and then come back and read it again and start taking your notes and start applying it. But I am an avid fan of reading, and it took me a long time to start applying what I was reading. I just read books just to read books and say, yeah, I'm one of those people that read books just to say I read it. But I realized that my life was not being enhanced because I wasn't applying the things that I was learning in the book. Or sometimes I read the book and forget what it was all about a week later. And, 2 weeks later, I forgot I even read the book. So if you are trying to change something in your life, build upon success, or try to be successful, I guarantee you, if you start growing and start looking at self-help books and start applying them, especially I forget the name of the guy who makes this book called Goals. That is an awesome book. It's red. I think it's Brian Tracy. It's a red book, red and white book. And believe me when I tell you, a lot of people, I believe that goals people kind of frown on goals, and one of the reasons why is because they don't go after goals in a fun and a beneficial way. Some people make it a drawn out way, and some people never reach their goals by trying to create goals that are unreachable. So I think goals have to be broken down into like little small creative things to do. So having said that, guys, those two books that I was talking about today, and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie are 2 books that you would need to build on your personal development and even professional as well. So think about it. Go out there and get those 2 books today, or even one, and just start reading on that. If you have any questions or any books that you are reading and how they are helping you change your life, hey, I would love to hear about it. You can hit me up at dave@thelastpodcast.info or dave@thelastpodcast or thelastpodcast443@gmail.com. Or you can simply hit me up at 972-284-9518. And again, my name is Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you tell your family and friends about sharing this podcast. And do me a favor, if you haven't already, subscribe, like. I'm definitely be back on Friday with a great poem for you to listen to. So hit me up. Thanks a lot for listening, and I wish you a fantastic week. Bye.